time for some dumb football questions here, where we take all of your dumb football questions that you put into the YouTube comment section. We get to as many as we can. No question is too dumb for dumb football questions, so keep sending us every single week. Let's start with this one. We got our agent here, Jeremiah Sirles. And so Kevin wants to know, do players need an agent? And if so, what do they get for their services? Can a player represent themselves and achieve the same results without an agent?
No. And the reason I say that is when you try and rep yourself, you might be able to do it as a rookie if you're a top 3 pick, right? If you're a top 3 pick, you might be able to say, I'll rep myself so I don't have to pay the whatever percentage I have to say because I know I'm getting drafted no matter what, but even in the pre-draft process, there's certain things that happen, right? There's, hey, I got injured, or hey, this team asked me this question, or hey, look at this contract that I'm going to sign, or this, that, and the other thing. Like, just focus on being a football player, right? Like, that's a hard enough job, right? Like, my role as an agent is to mentor and to advise and to try and help you just be able to stay focused on how I phrase it, is keeping the main thing. Because if you start losing focus on that even for a second, then like you could be passed up. And again, if you're a top 3 pick, if you're Marvin Harrison, you're like, I'm going to get picked after the quarterbacks, then sweet, I'm going to go do it, right? But when it comes to second contract time, that's when, if you want to try and do that yourself, good luck. You're going against some of the best negotiators in the world. They're going to make it as hard as humanly possible on you. And again, if you're not the top 2 at your position, there's so much back and forth that goes into that. There's so much of, hey, how do we add things in? How do we make this work through the cap? How do we do all this stuff? There's not just like, hey, it's not what you think. We're like, I'm going to slide this piece of paper across. Yeah. And it says, you pay me this or I walk. It's like, yeah, you could try that, but that's not really how it works in the NFL, right? There's moving pieces that go into this, and there's other factors that play a part into this. And that's our job as agents, is to make sure that at the end of the day, like, we aren't hurting you as a player, right? We're not coming in and saying, like, this is the number or we walk. And it's like, well, you might have priced yourself out, and then they're not going to sign you, and then no one else is going to sign you. And now you got to bring that number way down just to get back on a football team, a la Dalton Reisner, right? Like, there's a lot of factors that play into that, but as an agent, you can charge whatever you want on first contract, which is anywhere between 0% and 3%. 3% is the maximum you can charge through CBA. And sometimes a lot of those top round picks are only going to charge 1% or maybe even like 0.5%. Like, it's very dependent. But as an agent, you earn your money when you go and you show them that you can negotiate on that big deal. And you show them that you can do that and you're competent and you can do all those things. And the other piece that I think that I bring as an agent that's different is you can have the most competent agent and the best negotiator in the world. But if you're not playing well, we're pretty much hamstrung as it is. Right, like we can't go in there and demand the moon and the stars if you're a Bach 3rd starting position player, right? And so the thing that I try and do is like, let's help make you the best player you can be on the field, and then that helps my job as I go into negotiation with the second contract type of stuff.
Yeah, you played NFL football in the trenches, and so I'm like, for you're probably doing film study and like reviewing stuff with these. It's like having another assistant coach basically in your back pocket.
And that's what we hope to be, and some agents are just about negotiation. Like, I'm the best negotiator. It's like, that's great. But if your player's not playing well, I don't care if you're the best negotiator in the world. It doesn't matter, because they're going to point to the film. And you're going to be like, oh, and it's like, no, the film. That's where we start everything, is if the film is good, right? Boone, I mean, you can speak to this. You have multiple different agents. Like, you know, so much of it is about how you perform, and then it's up to your agent to maximize that performance.
Agreed. And not only that, but having a middleman in between you and the GM and the coach is always great. Like, you don't want to have those conversations directly. And if you don't have an agent, you're going to have to. I mean, there was times in my lockout where I had to go sit behind closed doors, and they say some really fucked up things. Like, they're not, Jay's not kidding. They're not nice to you when they pull you in these rooms. They're not like, oh, hey, buddy, you want to make some money? Here you go. I thought it'd be great to you. It's the exact opposite. It's exactly what Jay says. They start with the film, and they're like, hey, this is where we see Booney. This is where he's ranked. Yeah, he's up there, but this is where they think the money is. And you're like, wait, what? And they're like, listen, if you don't like it, you can fucking leave. They're like, man, this money ain't going up, so you fucking deal with it. And you're like, well, this is not at all what's fair. And they're like, don't fucking matter what's fair. It turns into a real negotiation. It's not like, hey, we're friends anymore. And that's where I found the NFL kind of got weird for me, is when You take it, because I was the biggest fan of the NFL just playing football, but the minute you start throwing business into it and you have to sit in these meetings and these guys are grilling you and pulling up actual plays of where you got your ass kicked, and they're like telling me this is worth this much fucking money. You serious? You're fucking serious? Hey, let's pull up another one. And you're like, shit. All right, motherfucker, I got you now. I see how this is going to go, but they're for real. And having people that know what they're doing is fucking
their job is to make, they have a salary cap. So like
right.
The ethos of their job is to make sure that they're paying players as little as possible relative to their performance.
To make everybody under there.
But the player's job, maybe only playing for one contract or two, is to make sure you maximize this incredible time in your life to make millions of dollars for your family, right?
And a lot of it too is kind of, you're kind of hamstrung by your team. Because I remember when they pulled me in, the first thing I showed, and that's why I knew what Jay was talking about, was the room that has everybody's salary cap into which year. And like every board had a year, and it was all the guys that went through that year. And so they walk you in and they're like, listen, this is the next 5 years of the team. This is the money that we have available. Like, we're not asking any of these guys to take a fucking pay cut. We wouldn't ask you to do that for somebody else. They're like, this is how it's going to go. And you're like, okay, I get it. And then they're like, this fucking business, dude. This isn't fucking X's and O's anymore. It's like numbers add up eventually. It's not a hypothetical or a is could. It's like this number has to be exact or we're fucked. And so that's why when you go in there, you forget that sometimes. And you're like, well, dude, I'm fucking working my ass off and doing this. Like, yeah, Boone, but we ain't got the fucking money. Fuck you want us to find this money? Like, look who's on our team. We got 1 million fucking Hall of Famers right now. Like everybody, and that's another thing is they don't want anyone to ever fall out of their lane, right? You overpay a guy and all of a sudden everyone on the team's gonna be like, whoa, fuck is that about, right? Like all of a sudden everyone's like, wait a minute. Everyone's quick to know when someone's getting overpaid. And that's when everyone starts talking. And that's when you don't want the team to go, shit. Because now we're going to have to fucking pay some other dudes.
And it's a good thing to have your agent be the middleman too, because it's really easy to take those negotiations personal as a player.
Fuck yeah.
Right? Like as a player, if you're sitting there and the agent's going, hey, they want to pay you $3.5 a year, and you're like, well, I'm an $8 million a year guy. Does that mean they don't like me? Right? Do they not love me? Like, and if you're the one having those negotiations, I think it'd be impossible to keep emotion out of it.
For sure.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's hard. Dude, they told me the minute we walked out of that room, they were like, Booney, you got to put your personal life aside. Yeah. This is not an attack on you. They're like, that's when I learned, dude. That's why I said the whole thing came up. The whole curtain went down, and I was like, holy shit. They were like, dude, you have to be very straight. They're like, as a matter of fact, don't respond. They're like, when you kind of make your faces, you let them know you're not happy. And they're like, and then they get even more excited because they know that you're not happy. They're like, see why we don't bring you fucking idiots into these? And I was like, yeah, I shouldn't be here. Because the minute they start talking about you, you're like, dog, you see who I'm playing? It's fucking 9-9. Fuck you, you go do it. They're like, I'm not paid to do it, dumbass. You are. And instantly you're like, shit, I walked myself right into this, didn't I? I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here, dude. You need an agent. And not only that, but that's another great point that Jay said. And this is now that I know I'm playing anymore, I can say this. I was the guy that would go to my agent and be like, listen, you're going to be the guy that tells him no. I'm going to be the guy that says yes. I'm going to say yes every single day, all day, even if it's broken. And you're going to call in later and say no. He was like, oh, yeah, that's easy. So like every day they'd be like, you ready to go this week? You'd be like, fuck yeah. And then the agent would call in and be like, dude, he's got a broken back. Are you stupid? I'm like, oh, we asked him. They're like, Booney says yes to everything. Like, oh, yeah, I'll say yes to anything. You're going to have to stop me eventually. And that's when they were like, you need someone that knows you, that knows like, hey, like my agent said every once in a while, we'll call my wife and be like, tell me the truth. She'd be like, oh, yeah, he can't walk. They'd be like, oh, yeah, he's not playing this week. Boy, I know you hear me on this.
I just heard the ping pong.
I know you hear me on this fucking thing.
The ping pong ball started going.
Go now. I know you heard that. It's almost summertime, boys. I got to get this office fixed. Hold on.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, long story short, I think an agent is necessary in your career for a lot of things. Booney on the side of saying no too, like that's part of our job is your personal life too.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like if you're like, dude, my great uncle won't leave me alone. Right. Like he's asking for money and stuff like, hey, you can say, hey, my agent handles all that. Right. Or this, that, like just push them to us. We can be your face. We can be the moat around your castle. Right. Like all that stuff. Like we are your protector. We're your mentor. We're your guide. Like we wear many hats.
Yeah.
Dude, I will say this though. Can I just say this one time? One time I was really fucked up, right? And they called me and they were like, hey, how you feel? I go, dude, I can barely walk. And they were like, all right, let's do it. So we go in the next day and they're like, you ready, Booney? I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm ready to go. You know me hobbling around, limping around. It's like Friday. The agent still hasn't called. And I'm like, hey, I can't. I can barely walk over here. And I called him. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Oh yeah, yo, I forgot to get to it. I'll get to it tomorrow." I'm like, "Dude, it's too fucking late. I'm in this motherfucker. Like, I am." We were highly dosed up that week. I mean, it was one of those like highly. You already know. And I was
Friday. If you're practicing on Friday, you're playing.
I called him Friday. I go, "What the fuck are you doing?" He was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to call." Fucking forget. No, I gotta go through with this shit. Graded out well. Never felt worse than the day after. My God.
Oh my gosh.
I know, man. It's hard. It's hard sometimes.
Let's go. So we did this one for a minute last week, but we'll give you guys a few more acres of real estate time wise here. YHW says, "Who is the most revolutionary O-line coach and why?"
Oh yes, I'm gonna say currently the most revolutionary O-line coach is Bill Callahan. Right, I'm gonna say Bill Callahan.
Homer.
No. They hate him here. Like they run him out of town as quickly as they can here. Him and Sean Eichhorst and like Steve Peterson are like he who shall not be named in the state of Nebraska, right? They don't like him. But what he's done from Dallas to Washington, then to Cleveland. Now he's going like everywhere he's went, the offensive line has taken drastic steps and been top 5 offensive lines in the NFL. Right. And with that type of consistency, with that type of ability to show and like different type of players each time, like all that stuff, he is in today's era. And if I had to rank like top O-line coaches, he's up there with revolutionary of what he does and how he gets guys to play.
I think, he'd probably be 1 or 2 for me. I think him, Stoutland's up there. He is also one of those coaches that is just, when you hear stories about him, you get really excited. And they're like, he doesn't put up with any bullshit either. Like when you talk about revolutionary coaches, it's coaches that go out there and they continue to push the bar every week, knowing that you're beat up, knowing that you're hurt, but they still keep putting challenges in front of you that they know you can hit. Stoutland's one of them. I know that Dante Scarnecchia was another great coach. If people are like, dude, you want to talk about a guy that was fucking a mighty, mighty man. Like he was tiny dude, but fucking crushes people. And they say he's incredibly smart. I played with a guy named Mike Solari, who I thought was phenomenal. Yeah. He was one of the guys that opened my eyes to like really doing board work and film and studying and he was like the coach that was like the most prepared ever. And so when you're around guys like that, they just teach you so much about football and they teach you how to be very disciplined at the same time. Like that was one of Mike's biggest things was the more disciplined we are, the better we'll be. And you don't realize until you're out in the game and you're like, yeah, he's not fucking kid. Like everything about this is all about aiming points and we have to be precise and you can't ever miss. And all of a sudden they flip their defense at the last second. You can't be panicked. So you have to be prepared for all this. And it's after being with him forever, I was like, my God, I don't think that there could be a better offensive line coach. But another great one is Chris Furster, who's currently in San Francisco, who taught me a lot about being a fucking big dog. Like he was one of these guys that like him and Mike were opposites, right? Mike wanted to tell you everything, teach you everything, show you everything, highlight everything, walk through everything. Furster was more like, hey, it's time to be a big boy. It's time to grade yourself. And he'd like give you the grading sheet. You'd be like, oh God, if I go too low,
oh, man.
I'm going to fucking out myself. If I go too high, he's going to out me. Like, where's the middle range? And like, he was one of the first ones that also taught me how to short set. So I'll forever be grateful to him. Cause I remember he was like, fucking like this long and you don't ever use your arms. You don't jump anybody. I was like, jump anybody? Why would I jump him? And he was like, oh, Jesus Christ, son, we got so much stuff. Like he was the first one to like open my eyes to aiming points and angles and how to attack people. And I was like, oh, this is great. So I think any coach that is really open to coaching you to what's best for you, because I feel like there's a lot of coaches that put people in these cookie cutters and you're like, dude, I'm not like Jay. Jay's not like me. We might be built similarly, but we do not have the same pros and cons, right? So it's
those
like
coaches are tough.
It's tough, man. Like some of these coaches that come out and they give you everything they have and they watch your film and they talk to you. And I think one other great thing is they're not afraid to talk to you about outside of football. Like they know that you're a person outside of there. So they see you at lunch and they'll come sit down and they'll just start talking to you and they'll be like, dude, this guy's tell me it's not true. Like you can't stand the coach. It's like, this guy doesn't even fucking know who I am. I'm just a number to him.
But I had a coach, San Diego, Joe DeLisandris.
Great guy.
We're going to have our guest. He played with him too.
Is he going to come on?
Yeah. He's coming.
Joe?
On. No.
Oh,
I bet you we could get Joe on here at one point. Jeremiah.
He's awesome, dude.
like when I showed up there as a rookie, all the vets are like, listen, it's gonna hurt. Like he's gonna come down on you. He's gonna say things to you that is not gonna make you feel very good. Like just know that he comes at it from a place of love. And I was like, okay. And like, sure enough, dude. I mean, he had sayings after sayings. He dog cuss. He'd just go off on you. And like, he's probably like at this point, he had to be close to 70, right? Like maybe high 60s. And like, you just be like, oh my gosh, dude! Like this dude hates me. Like he loathes me entirely. And then you'd be sitting in the lunchroom, and he'd come up next to you and be like, Jeremiah, how's your wife Emma doing? She good? And you'd be like, yeah. Like, how's your mom, your dad, you guys good? Tell me about yourself. And you'd be like, what is happening? Like, it was just this, like, such a, like, mind. You're just like, what? Are you like buttering me up to cut me or something? Or like, you're like, no, I love to get to know my guys and like talk to me about like, what'd you go to school? Tell me about your line coach. And then you get in the meeting and be like, you stupid Nebraska dude. You just be like, what is happening? Like, it was the most like mind, like you can handle. And then like to this day, Joe D will still text me on like my birthday. He'll text me. We meet up with him every year at the combine. Like he sent me a video. He sent me a picture of like the new offensive lineman they drafted this year in Baltimore. He's like, found my new Jeremiah. Hope he's coachable. Love you. Hope Emma's well. Doing it. It's like so weird, man. And then you talk to guys,
worthless piece of.
Yeah, you talk to guys that play for him, and they're like, dude, I can't play for this guy. Like I can't play for this man. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to say. You just have to like. He is as Jekyll as Hyde and they come, but he was another really good O-line coach that's done great things, and I owe him a lot in my career.
Listen, there's something to be said about boundaries, right? Like I always found boundaries in the door. The minute the door's closed, they're a coach, right? I'm a player. We take all personal matter off. The minute that door opens, we're back being fucking googles and gaggles. Like we're just laughing our asses off constantly. I never had a problem putting the shield up and down with coaches because I always was like, yeah, if you're not hard on me, I'm going to end up fucking around and drinking a case of beer here. But if you just continuously keep stabbing me all over, then I'm just so afraid of my life. Like, it's awesome. Dude, I thought it was awesome. And I thought the ability of those guys to be able to turn it on and off was impeccable. Because Solari was the same way. He'd be like in a meeting and he'd just be like, God, this is the best you could put out. You knew the game was on Sunday because you're Christian. You'd never swear at you, never cuss you. He'd be like, I'm just disappointed. We went over this. And then you'd get out of the room and he'd be like, hey, put his hands on your shoulder, start squeezing. You'd be like, hey, how's Dana doing? Kiddos good? Like, dude, you just told me I sucked for 3 fucking hours. What? I thought it was great.
Amazing,
it's weird.
And two, I always took comfort in knowing, and this is going to sound terrible, so you can ding me now. I always took comfort in knowing that I could go to work and my boss could tell me how much they really fucking hate me and nobody else could. And not only that, but I could tell my boss how much I fucking hate them and nobody could do anything about it. Nobody, because how many times you go to work and coach is just like, it fucking sucks. But yes, fuck you, get out of here. And all of a sudden you'd walk away and be like, did I just tell Tony to go fuck himself? Shit. I don't know, my balls are dropping today. And then you'd be like, there's no way I could have done this at my other job. No way.
You should try. Yeah, you should try. All of you guys listening out there, I want you to try that at work and see what happens.
No,
don't do that. Off themselves. One more for you guys here. Will OC says, "How do players on average think about their degree at college? Is it mostly a joke?"
No, I think
you just talked about your amateur league like it's going to last 30 years. Oh yeah.
This isn't a fair question to ask two guys that had careers in the NFL.
Yeah, no,
like this. It's not like because I'm using part of my degree. I got a business management and a minor in entrepreneurship, right? So like I'm using that with starting my own company. Right, I started my own company. There's some pieces to that, but majority of the guys that don't play in the NFL, they use the shit out of their degree, right? Like they get real jobs, they have real careers, like, and all of that's from their degree. So I don't think that's a fair question to ask a guy that played multiple years in the NFL, because by the time I left college, I was like, I want to go play in the NFL. I don't have a backup plan. And then once you get going into it, the NFL opens up career paths that you never thought would be possible when you were at college, right? But if you're a guy that...
Well, how many guys dick around that they're never going to go to the NFL, but they dick around and don't take getting a degree seriously?
If you get
98% of them,
a comm degree or like a history degree or
I think about all the kids I went to school with. And I'm like, dude, what did half of you graduate with? I hope you're able to use it. Like we never went to. It was like insanity how many guys just didn't pay attention. I barely paid attention. We got good grades, but looking back, it was like, what the hell did I really study? I studied history. I was like, dude,
Yeah,
I
what
liked
did
it
you
'cause
major in?
I was a history major because I loved war. So I loved learning about war. So I
That
took
was
a
your
war history.
reason to go to college.
I was like, dude, they were like, what do you want to learn? I was like, nothing.
War.
No, I was like, I like to read about war, like the wars that we were in. My brother was a Marine. I thought it was great.
So what were you going to be, a history teacher?
Yeah, history teacher and coach. I don't know, dude. 8 years old, I was this big. What'd you think I was gonna fucking do? That's why I was like, no, I wasn't. But I'll tell you what, I did my due diligence. As soon as I was done, I graduated, and I had to
Who was
wait.
that? Was that mom or grandma? That was like,
That
you're
was
getting
both.
your degree.
Both. Promised both of them I would
I'll
get
say,
it.
I guarantee you there was a promise.
As soon as I
somewhere in
was
there.
done, my grandma called me. Nana, shout out to Nana and Amy. Love them to death. My mom, my grandma, besties. My grandma called me and she's like, hey, remember that fucking promise you made? I was like, God damn it, Nana, are you serious? She was like, don't be lazy. I was like, fuck. So I called the school and I go, hey, I'd love to get my degree. And they were like, you're going to have to actually be here physically present. It was a 595 class. I was like, yeah, that ain't fucking happening. So then COVID hit and they opened everything online. And so I just retired and I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I did it for my grandma, my mom, and I had to take this it was the longest class. And it was about, I can't even tell you. It was about the beginning of civilization.
He didn't study.
Dude, it was insane. You should have seen the
Did you go walk? Did you go walk in person?
No.
Oh, you should have went up there and walked.
I had everything sent to me. But I'll tell you what, the guy that followed me, you know how you have people that through the admissions and all that follow you and track you.
Your advisor
actually texted me. Yeah, he was like, dude, I'm super excited for you. He's like, I never thought you'd even be alive. I was like, me too. Now I have a degree. Now look at us.
When your name popped up, I thought it was going to be a funeral invite.
Guaranteed thought it was. He's like, dude, I thought you died years ago. Nope. Survived that alcohol poisoning.
Oh my god, dude. I need an alternate universe where Alex was a history teacher / like Phi-Ed teacher at some junior high.
I want an
with
alternate
short
universe
shorts and a whistle
where Alex goes pro as a junior, because I want to see what that would have looked like before I got smart. That that would have been fucking insane.
Would you have made it?
Nope. 0% chance. 0 chance. I'm telling you, I remember standing in the fucking shower with Malcolm Jenkins, Beanie Wells, James Laurinaitis, and they were like, what are we doing, boys? And I was like, fuck that. I'm out of here. I can't wait to go party. You know me. I was like, they keep calling me from the NFL saying, you're going to have a lot of fun here. This was like Facebook just came out, so Instagram was not even a thing. No pictures were a big deal. And I remember we were like, oh no, we got to stay. Thank God I fucking stayed, because had I left, I guarantee I'd have been dead in 12 months. Dead. For sure. My grandma even told me, she was like, you would not have lasted a year. I was like, no. Thank God I stayed.
Oh,
I know.
You made it. Now look at you.
and now here he is.
Now I'm here with you guys.
History
And
teacher.
all these
to
fans.
20,000
Listen,
subscribers
one of these
on
days-
YouTube.
So close,
Hey,
dude.
This slow burn to 20 is killing me. Hey, but if we get to 20, maybe I'll throw in a history lesson. Maybe I'll throw some things out there that I've learned.
Please give me an hour lecture on Alex.
So we're doing
Alex history
Alex
after
history.
1967.
Alex history, Alex landscaping spinoffs here on the O-Line Committee.
Dude, you need your mulching done, you call me. I would, Jay, you need mulching done, you call me. I love
hate
mulching.
mulch.
I love it.
I rocked my yard. You only had to do it once.
Oh, dude, talk about a free workout in the sun. Oh, love it.
Hey, next week, Alex, you're gonna power rank. I just power rank 32 quarterbacks. You're gonna power rank 20 wars in world history.
You got it.
Not 20. How about 5?
10. Give me
10.
10.
We'll give you the
Give me
top
10.
10.
Yeah,
Okay.
give me your top 10 next year.
Dude, I was in a true
By the way,
story. I was-
UFL Stallions in the conference championship this weekend. Going for it. You guys
Let's
are on
go.
the other side. Maybe
That's
a
right,
rematch of the championship bout.
Yeah,
with
it's you know what they say
I
about
think my
the
team
UFL.
sucks.
Tough to beat a team twice
tough to
in the
beat
UFL.
Your team is done, Boone. They won one game.
but it whoa.
You picked a slow horse.
I did. I wasn't given many options. There was only like
What do you
4 of
mean?
them. You guys
the
had already
slow
picked.
Oh,
I'm
my
sorry.
God. All right, we got to go. Those are your dumb football questions here on O-Line Committee. Keep hitting us up in the YouTube comment section. And for the love of God, please drag us to 20,000 subscribers.
Push
by
us over the
clicking
finish line.
that
Please.
the subscribe button. We'll see you guys. We're bringing back film reviews this week, too, for the rest of the offseason. Anthony Richardson. Is this the year where Anthony Richardson takes over the National Football League? So keep an eye out for that, too.